Welcome to Ring the Damn Bell. I am your host, KG, and as always, my sidekick, my buddy, my brother, my friend, the wrestling enthusiast, Mark. And no, Mark, no music. I have to record new music because the music that was on my equipment for some reason disappeared. I'm not sure what I did, so I have to record new music. Hopefully, in the next week or so, I'll get off my lazy ass to do so. Man, are you ready for the 5 to 8 inches of snow we're supposed to be getting on Saturday?
I didn't hear anything about it, to be honest.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. 5 to 8 inches. Awesome. Maybe I'll get to use my new snowblower that I bought 2 years ago. So, but anyway, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, and please comment if you like us. Tell us you like us. If you don't like us, please tell us you don't like us, but tell us why. Tell us what we need to do to get better. I would really love to get some of those comments, some positive criticism. Uh, Also, this coming Monday, I'm going to have California's own Triple M. He, a couple of weeks ago, was on a podcast as my co host when Mark couldn't make it. He is a professional wrestling manager in California. I will be having him on Monday. News wise, the only thing I have is so it has been reported that Ice Speed is actually really hurt from that spear that Breaker gave to him. It was also reported, though, that he was told how to take the spear to protect himself from being hurt. He apparently ignored it and he didn't take it like he was supposed to, and he's hurt. Man, Mark, I got to tell you, if someone came to me and said, look, you're going into the Royal Rumble, but you're going to take a spear from Braun Breaker. This is what you need to do so you don't get hurt. I think I'm going to follow those directions because Braun Breaker, I mean, the man is fast. He gets his speed up and then he spears you. You should probably listen.
I just watched a video earlier today that someone said about professional wrestling. It's like you've been in a car wreck every day.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I've seen or Speed, whatever, take that hit, and it looks to me like he was off his mark, because it looks like he wasn't fully turned when Braun hit him. All right, so I don't think that kid was ready for it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, if you guys go back and actually watch that spear, but you right before Brian Breaker hits, you slow the video down. As soon as it makes contact, I'm telling you, you can see the Holy Ghost leaving Ice Speed's body. I mean, it was gone. There was nothing there anymore. I
Well,
mean,
it's full contact football at that point.
fuck. Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I'm almost 6'5", and I'm a good 260 pounds. Um, and even as big as I am, I wouldn't want to take that spear. I mean, I just wouldn't. None unless I was giving said instructions on how to take the spear without getting hurt. Because, yeah, but whatever. He didn't listen. He's saying that he's saying that he's never coming with WWE again.
Yes, you did. Yes, you
Yeah, I
did.
think that's funny. But anyway, that's it for the show. We're doing the recap of Dynamite. And I tell you, Dynamite actually had a really good show last night. I actually preferred Dynamite this week than I did Raw. And Mark, I was thinking about it, like, why is it different this week? Why are they actually good? And I came to this conclusion. This week, very, very little storyline there. It was mostly just good matches. And having just good matches and very little storyline on AEW made it more tolerable and it made it a good show. I like storylines, but the problem is Tony Khan does not know how to give us good storylines. So I would prefer to see the good matches versus Tony's horrible storylines. What about you?
Real quick though, it's rumored that Nikki Bella is not doing just a one-off for the Royal Rumble. That she might be back in action, not full time but sporadic, and maybe her sister might join her. All right, real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah, no, thanks for that. I was aware of that. I was just waiting until I was able to get confirmation about that. And also, since we're talking about, supposing what's happening with WWE, we were wondering if, I hate when my mind does this. She made her debut at Royal Rumble. Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss. We were wondering if it was just going to be a one-off. We didn't know if the contract issue was just a storyline or not. She is reportedly coming back. But the thing is, though, is I read an article from the dirt sheet saying that she was going to SmackDown, but right before I came on the podcast tonight, I also read that she was actually going to make her debut on Raw. So I don't know where she's going, SmackDown or Raw, but apparently she is coming back again. And I honestly would prefer to see her on Raw. If Charlotte Flair faces Tiffany, or whoever faces Tiffany, and Tiffany's able to retain her belt at WrestleMania, I would love to see a program between Alexa Bliss and Tiff. I
Um,
I don't think that's going to happen because I'm pretty sure that the rumors that we're hearing that they were going to break off Uncle Howdy away from the Wyatt Sick and just leave that group on SmackDown. I have a feeling we can see Uncle Howdy make an appearance on Raw, and there's be a storyline between him and Alexa Bliss with her joining him. So
her doll had a 6 on for an eyeball, so I don't know if it's just tribute or whatever, or she's going to the Wyatt 6. I don't know. I think her going to the Wyatt 6 would probably benefit them, but hurt her ultimately.
oh, it depends. If they do what's being rumored that WWE is going to do, and they break Uncle Howdy away from that group, and that group is just on SmackDown doing their thing, and Howdy is on Raw, I think that it could be very interesting with Uncle Howdy and Alexa Bliss together, because we actually could still see those storylines between Alexa Bliss and a Tiffany actually. But I do agree with you that if they just put her with the entire group, I think it's going to hurt her.
Of course, then again, she's got a kid now, so maybe she doesn't want to have the rigors of road travel.
Maybe, but I honestly, I would prefer to have her just by herself, just her normal gimmick that she did before she joined. Because I didn't even like her when she was with Bray Wyatt, to be honest with you. I just want the regular Alexa Bliss who's chasing the title or who has the title.
See, I don't think she's gonna attain the levels that she did before, though.
Yeah, maybe not.
Well, regardless. All right. So, anyways, AEW night starts out with Renee interviewing Jay White. Jay White talking about how the War Raiders or whatever Death Raiders always had the numbers advantage. Sure enough, Death Raiders show up, and Jay starts counting counting up the numbers. They realize that Edge and FTR are behind them. A fight breaks or a Pier 6 brawl at that point, I guess. Breaks out. Let's see. After the fight breaks up, Edge challenges Mox. Mox says no. Jay White offers a match with Edge and White versus Mox and Claudio. I thought this was a great way to start the show, to be honest.
Yeah, you know what? As much as I think the whole storyline with the Death Riders is awful because there's no direction, I didn't mind this because at least with FTR and Edge and Jay, they're staying consistent now with this battle instead of them just jumping and battling everyone as an AEW. So I don't mind this. And if the storyline ends up being these guys versus, Death Riders versus Edge and his crew, cool. At least now we have a direction. I agree with you. I like this.
All right, so next we go to recap of Buddy Matthews challenging Okada and calling him a bitch. Okada claims he's no bitch.
Yeah, when that happened last week, I swear to you, I had a Diet Coke that I took a sip of, and when Buddy Matthews called Okada a bitch, the expression on Okada's face, I literally spit my fucking Diet Coke on my mouth because he he was great when he gave that expression. It was like, what? That's my line, motherfucker. I'm no bitch.
I know it was like something straight out of Revenge of the Nerds or something.
Yeah,
I all right. So, anyways, let me put my eyes back on here. Sorry. Will Ospreay versus Mark Davis. This was a surprise.
it was. And look, it was a good match. And this is just me nitpicking now, the only issue that I had goes back to that inconsistency. Last time we seen Mark Davis, he was helping Osprey and whoever else was with them against Don Callis' family because he felt betrayed. And Don Callis' family beat the shit out of Mark Davis. Now,
Right.
after saying that,
That was
once
that was
I think it was Tony Schiavone that kind of explained some things about Mark Davis and how possibly he is having to be forced to do this because Don Callis may have something. What happened to you? Mark Callis, Don Callis may have something over Mark Callis. There you are. All right. As I was saying, when Tony Schiavone kind of made the comment that he thought that Don Callis had something over Mark's head, I'm like, okay, now I'm a little intrigued, because this in itself could start something, a storyline between Mark and Don Callis. What are your thoughts on what it seemed to be something inconsistent, and then what Tony Schiavone said regarding Mark Davis and Don Callis?
I think Tony might have alluded to it, but I think Don Callis cleared it up and pretty much said he's under contract. He said he
Yeah,
signed both of them, but Mark Davis was out on medical when he signed them, and Kyle Fletcher signed for both of them.
right.
So Mark
Yeah,
technically is signed to Don Callis, but under protest, possibly.
right. Yep.
No, good
Well, I was gonna
match.
say real quick, this was a decent match between these two. I didn't at first. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to see this match or not, because I'm not really a big Mark Davis fan. But this was a good match.
I think Mark Davis is underrated, to be honest.
Yeah,
He's got
well,
the personality of a dead snail, but
right,
you
and
know,
and that is going to lead to my question. I was going to ask you, Mark. Do you think this was a good match because both Mark Davis and Will Ospreay are just that talented, or do you think it was a good match because Will Ospreay was carrying Mark Davis?
I think it was a good match because we've never seen this match before. Mark Davis, like I said, is an underutilized talent. You know, um, he's a big man that can move. Um, in ways he kind of reminds me of the Butcher back in 2020.
You're right.
Uh, but Mark Davis is an exceptional talent. He just has no personality.
Yeah,
Um, but as far as Will Ospreay carrying him, no, I don't think that was the case. I think Mark Davis is that good.
yeah, I agree. I really do, and I think because he has no personality, or it seems like it, this is why he needs to be with like a Don Callis.
Yep, he's kind of like the Don or who was it? Dennis Conray of the
Oh,
Midnight. No personality, so he needed somebody to
right.
be there for him. But he had no personality, but hell of a worker,
Yep. Yep.
Bobby Eaton. But I won't take anything away from Connery.
Right.
So, anyways, Will pulls out the win. Megan comes out. Dawn runs rabbit. A little bit of smack talking. Other than that, wasn't much to go on, to be honest. Next,
Well, hold on. Let me ask you this question. Are you excited to see this match in Australia with Omega and Will Ospreay against Don Callis' guys?
hell yeah, you got four of the top guys in wrestling today. Yeah, Fletcher's the top guy, in my opinion. And his partner, and his name eludes me. I've got it in my notes somewhere.
Isn't it the champ?
Takeshita.
Yeah, Kateshka. So let me,
Yeah.
but so I tell you, see if you agree with me. Knowing what the card is, I'm predicting that this may very well possibly be the best match of the night.
Damn well should be with all that talent. Damn well should be with all that talent. If they let these guys loose, it'll be a 4-star match easily.
Yeah, and before you go to the match, I apologize for interrupting you again. I know you're trying to get to the other match. I need to correct something that we said. On our last podcast, we said that this was going to be this is the go home show for Dynamite for their Australian special. That is not correct. It's actually it's a week from Saturday is the Australian show. So this was not the go home show.
Gotcha. Next, we go to a video clip of Swerve about Ricochet. This one should be really good. I don't like the build-up.
Yeah, I agree. There's a little bit of drama within the build-up, but it's for these two to be meeting. Um, there's just not enough. I think that, and we'll get to that match. Which I think was a damn good match, but I think they threw away a really good match. They should have allowed a little bit more of a build-up to the storyline and maybe kept them apart, or when I say, or maybe not have a match until the Australian thing that they're doing. I think they just did this way too soon. Uh, there should have been more of a build up to this. I agree.
Yeah, it should have been at least another week or two.
Right.
Of catch a cat and mouse, I guess is the best way I can
Yep.
put it. All right. So next we go to the tag champs to the ring. They got a hell of a pop, actually, I thought. And then the chant of "We Hurt People," I loved it. Saw a sign out there that says "We Hurt People" and loved it. Um, the Gun Club responds to an open challenge, looking better than ever. MVP accepts for next week the chance versus a couple of ass boys. Them guys are never going to get past that nickname.
Yeah, I tell you, so a couple of things about this. One, let's go to the crowd reaction. You're right. The Hurt Syndicate got an amazing pop, but so did the Gun Club, right? They got an amazing pop. And MVP before they even came out, with MVP giving flowers to Private Party, even this was really very similar to somewhat of a babyface promo that they did. And then it was the same thing with the Guns coming out, right? Um, so it was kind of like, okay, who's going to kind of be the bad guys or who's going to be the baby faces? But I tell you, if you're going to go according to the crowd, even though they both got pops, I am willing to predict that when the actual match happens next week, the crowd's going to be behind the Hurt Syndicate, 100%. Now, I have very, very similar feelings about this match that I did when we were talking about Swerve, and God damn it, who does Swerve wrestle again?
Ricochet.
Yeah, Ricochet. Goddamn Ricochet. Um, I think that they should have done at least one more promo together, talking shit, and then held this match for that special Saturday night event in Australia. Uh,
Right.
I don't know why. Like this, in my opinion, this is absolutely a pay-per-view worthy match. 3 years ago with the Guns, I probably would have said that, but these guys have gotten so much better. They even look physically so much better. They've gotten better on the mic as well. Yeah, this is a match that I would have been willing to pay to see. So I don't know why you're going to waste it on a Dynamite. And again, if you have to give it to the people for free, wait to give it on your special event in Australia on Saturday. I don't get it.
I don't know. It still might happen.
You know, maybe. Well, the one thing I do hate about this happening so soon is there's not going to be any suspense on whether or not the Guns is going to win this and the Hurt Syndicate is going to lose. There's no way that the Hurt Syndicate, or no way they're losing these titles that quickly. One, they're too good, and more importantly, they are too hot right now. So there's just no way. So I wish this was happening later, but it is what it is, and nonetheless, it's going to be a great match.
You know what made last really good? It just ran smooth.
It did.
Wasn't choppy anywhere. All right. So, anyways, next we go with Renee with Harley Cameron with Monet Puppet. Harley Cameron is a breath of fresh air. She's got a shitload of hidden talents, apparently. You know, um, I'm thoroughly enjoying her slight push, even though she'll lose against Monet, who she will probably face in Australia. But I'd love to take a pen just because Harley has done so poorly over the last 2 years.
I agree. There is nothing. This is one of those matches that I agree. I don't think that Quinn is going to win, but I sure would love to be surprised and see her win.
Right. All right. So then let's see. Monet shows up, calls Harley a loser, storms off. Renee interviewing Hangman, asking if he had any remorse, or pretty much asking if he had any emotions, pretty much.
Yeah,
Uh,
and he basically said nope. Daniels
yep.
put himself in that position. No, Heyman's another one, man. That it's like I feel like they don't know what to do with him as far as him either being a heel or a baby face because he keeps on bouncing back and forth.
Right.
I don't know. I do know this though, and I'm going to contradict myself a little bit, I guess. I prefer this version of Hangman than any other version we've seen on AEW. I hated the alcohol version. I hated the whole friendly, I'm a good guy version. This version seems to fit him actually. So, I guess he's in that anti-hero type of a spot, and I guess just leave him be because, like I said, I don't want anything about his character to change.
It's kind of, and I hate to say this because it's not fair. It's kind of reminiscent of Austin.
Oh, I agree 100%. Matter of fact, I don't know if you remember this or not. Probably 4 years ago, but JR 4 years ago compared him to Austin. Now,
Right.
4 years ago, as I said, I made the comment, JR has lost his fucking mind because 4 years ago, Hangman was not even close to Stone Cold. But now I can kind of see the similarities just because of him, like Steve Austin, really wasn't that babyface or heel. They were just who they were.
Yeah. All he needs is find that one niche, and he'll go over hard. But he's
Yeah,
got to find.
for the love of God, please don't let it be Tony Khan trying to become Mr. freaking Tony Khan because no one wants to see that tragedy on TV.
Right. You know. Um. All right. So let's see. Next, we go to Takeshita versus and Fletcher versus Hounds of Hell. Good match. Sorry to see that Hounds of Hell's lost.
Now, well,
I
first, go ahead.
like the whole Hounds of Hell theory. I do.
I was just about to ask you, what do you think about that name?
I like it. I like it a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, I do too, because it, what I like about it is, first there's the House of Black, right? And I'm glad that they didn't try to change the name into something that would have made them kind of have to change their whole characters. It's kind of a smooth um
Transition.
transition from House of Black to House of Hell, because they fit one another. So yeah, I really do like this. I and I agree with you. I thought that it is a shame they had to take the pin. I understand why they had to take the pin. You can't have um Fletcher and why do I have problem saying his name?
Takeshita.
Yeah, you can't have Fletcher and Katesha losing right before the big match in Australia. But they could have at least done some type of a disqualification just to protect both of them.
Right. Here's something that's gonna rock you a little bit. You might disagree, but Fletcher kind of reminds rookie Randy Orton.
Ooh, yeah, I don't see that.
Oh, I do, but that's okay. We can
Yeah.
disagree. Um,
And
the
hold on,
catch.
and I'm not taking anything away from Fletcher. Fletcher's great. I like Fletcher, but that's just not a comparison that I could see.
Well, it's not a fair comparison because I'm talking Randy's first year versus Fletcher's what, seventh year.
Yeah,
I didn't realize how big Takeshita was. Because he didn't look so small compared to Brody.
right. Just not
So
as wide.
right, exactly. And here's another match I'd like to see. I'd love to see Brody and Matthews against the Hurt Syndicate, because Buddy might be 235, 240, but he is solid. He is just rock solid.
But this would be my issue with that match, Mark. Is it just me, or it seems like that the Hounds of Hell, or even when they were the House of Black, they're being used as this enhanced talent to show how strong the other side, their opponents are. And the reason why that will go into why I would have an issue seeing them against the Hurt Syndicate is, once again, just like I said about the guns, there would be no suspense. You would know who's going over. Now, if they had the Hounds of Hell winning quite a few matches and they earned that shot against Hurt Syndicate for the titles, cool. Now I'm all for that, because maybe the Hounds of Hell could beat them. They're not small guys. But I want to see them start winning some matches before we see that match.
Right. Well, that's no different than Harley Cameron.
Right. Yeah, but
So
I just don't like Mercedes when they, like, there's something about her. I think she's improved as a wrestler, but as far as her, the character, I just don't like it. And I just want to see someone take that title versus the Hurt Syndicate. Well, I like those guys. And as much as I want Hounds of Hell to get, their title shot and to even beat them, at the same time, if the Hurt Syndicate successfully kept their titles, I wouldn't be mad either, because I like the Hurt Syndicate. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference there.
yeah. All right. So next we go to a recap of Hook and Joe taking a beatdown after their win last week, and then Hook and Joe looking for some payback. And I might have turned away for a second, but was it Christian that actually showed up and realized they were taking a beatdown? Kip and oh god, what the hell's his name? I don't know, the other kid.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I can't remember his name. I don't like him. So this is, yeah, the whole beatdown thing, cool. Eh, that was fine. But what made this enjoyable to watch was when Samoa Joe and Hook walked out the room and walked down the hall. Well, right before that, they told the guys they beat down to, this is a message for Christian, and then they left. Well, right as they left, they showed Christian right around the corner in the door jam, kind of peeking in, hiding, and you know that he heard that message. But the fact that he didn't try to go help, he was there. It was funny. It was really funny. That's the part that I enjoy. I am just not yet a Hook person. I think he's young. I think he has potential. I'm not a fan of his yet. I'm a fan of Samoa Joe. Don't get me wrong, but I personally think that putting Hook and Samoa Joe together, as you said about the Wyatt Six with Alexa Bliss, that Alexa Bliss, it would help the Wyatt Six. Yeah, this is helping Hook, but it's hurting Samoa Joe in my opinion.
Yeah, Samoa Joe's not going to attain the levels he attained 2 years ago either.
He's not, but at the same time, I would prefer to see him in something else better than this.
The strange thing is AEW's got such top talent that anybody could take that belt off Mox. There's got to be 5, 6 guys that could take that belt off Mox, and Daniel Bryan's waiting in the wings somewhere. That wasn't a retirement match for him. He's gonna be back for a few more matches or whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I figured out that I am making that prediction that it's going to be Christian. I think Christian's going to use that briefcase and cash it in or sign the contract, whatever the fuck they call it, and he's going to be the new champ. And I'm all for Christian being the new champion. I think he'll do a better job than Moxley. That's for damn sure. Um, but and I'll be honest with you. This is what I'm predicting is going to happen. I'm predicting that there's going to be that title match between Edge and Mox, and Edge is going to beat Mox, and then right after Edge beat Mox, Chris will come in, hit him with the briefcase, and pin Edge for the title. Very much like what he did with Drew McIntyre. Honestly, I don't know why I had that feeling that that's how they're going to do it. I just do. And I hope not. I don't want, because at that point, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to agree with the fans when they say that Tony Khan just copied WWE if it does go down that way. I want it to be something, even if it's just the standard Christian coming in after Mox got his ass kicked, but was barely able to win, and that's how Christian did it. Fine, I'm good with that. But I am good with Christian getting that title.
2 years ago I would have said no, but yeah, Christian's done some of his best work the last 2 years, and I've never been a huge Christian fan. I always thought he was a mid cutter, but you know what? The guy has only gotten better over the last couple of years.
Dude, this is a weird show for me tonight because I'm agreeing with a lot of things that you're saying, like 100%, because I have never been a Christian guy either. I felt like Edge carried Christian in WWE. I feel like when Christian went to TNA, I just didn't care about him then. And then when he came back when he came to AEW, I was like, why? But let me tell you, when he completely and fully went heel and he did that first angle with Jungle Boy and the shit that he was saying about Luke Perry, to Jungle Boy's parents or family, I became a fan of Christian then because I'm like, holy shit, I did not know Christian had this in him.
Yeah, no, he's done a better heel here than he ever did in WWE.
Absolutely.
All right, so next we go to MJF to ring. Yada yada yada. Max Caster interrupts. Then Hangman Page comes out, goes face to face with MJF, and then chases Max Caster off. Then Dustin Rhodes comes out, and ultimately it came down to I'm better than you, and you know it.
Yeah, I tell you,
I love
I am
Dustin.
I'm so glad that Dustin came and saved this promo, because if this promo was just going to be MJF doing his normal, and I'm not saying that MJF isn't good, he is, but it still would have been the same old blah blah blah. The MJF says, And then to add next caster in, and I'm like, I don't want to see this. And then we have on a page coming out, just a stare down. I'm like, really? You're going to waste 6 minutes of my life for this? I was getting annoyed about it. I'm like, this is terrible. But then when Rhodes came out, I'm like, okay. He cut a fire promo last night. It was passionate. And you could almost feel like you almost felt the passion and the anger in his voice. He sold really well that the promo that he did. Now, on the flip side though, Mark, and I'll be honest with you, man, you may disagree with me. Am I looking forward to this match? No. Are they going to have a good match? Absolutely, they will. But it goes back to what I said about two other matches. There's not going to be that suspense there. We both know MGF is going over. That's why I don't want to see that match because
I agree totally. It does nothing to benefit Dustin. Dustin at this point probably just wants to put people over. Um, and that's fine if that's what he wants to do. But you know what? Dustin's worked long and hard and he's put up some really shitty gimmicks. I'm not talking about Gold Dust per se because he actually made that kind of gold for
oh
lack of
yeah.
term. But coming back to WCW as 7 or something, and the TNA had him do some fucked up shit. Um, Dustin needs an AEW championship. I'm sorry, he does. Even if he's transitional, I don't care. He needs that championship. And to be quite honest, I think Dustin can cut a better promo than Cody any day of the week.
Oh, I agree because Cody's babyface promos are very kiss assy. Dustin's promos, especially as a babyface, very passionate. He's not pandering to the audience. He's just being passionate about what he loves, the things that he's done, and why he's better than MJF, which he is better than MJF right now. MJF has not reached that point of Dustin Rhodes.
If anybody picked up the promo gene from Dusty, it was Dustin.
100%. 100%. And look, they should let Dustin go over next week. They should let Dustin become a number one contender. Dustin should be the guy who actually beats John Moxley for the title
Dude,
and hold it. And look, there was perfect scenario because this would protect Dustin as well. He beats Moxley for the title. He has the title. He does a couple, 2 or 3, defenses, defending the title, over the 4 months or whatever, right? And on one of the matches where he's defending his title, make it a damn tough match. Even blood, because Dustin looks great when he bleeds. He does. Even blood, let Dustin go over barely, and that's when you have Christian come out, hit him with the case, and pin him. Because you still make Dustin look strong, right? But you're passing that title on. And I know it'll go from one veteran to the next. It needs to be the younger guys. But that'd be a smooth transition, in my opinion, from Moxley to Dustin to Christian, and then let Christian lose it against one of the younger talents. That's
right.
honestly what I would love to see.
Yep. Yep. So next we go to Amadi, Queen Adamada.
Anamani.
Thanks. Versus Tony as Mariah May. I thought this was probably the best gimmick I've seen in a long time.
Um, Look, I love this. I laughed my ass off, and I cannot believe how much these two look like one another when they dress like each other. Mariah May was a damn good Tony Storm when she was dressed like Tony Storm. And holy shit, Tony Storm in the face looked just like Mariah May last night. I'm like, what the fuck? Now,
Yep.
the match, good match. Toni Storm is a great wrestler, and so is the Queen. I like her. The one issue that I had is I really wish they would have ended this with Mariah May jumping in the ring and a bit of disqualification because I don't want to see the Queen get fucking pinned anymore. I want to see her in a serious title run with somebody. She deserves it. She's that good, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
understand why Tony had to win. Don't get me wrong, but they had that opening there with Mariah May right at the commentary to be able to run in and interfere in the match to protect Queen and Tony.
Yep. Yep. No, I think the Queen is an up and coming star. You know, she if she doesn't go to WWE sometime soon, um, which I think they'll just waste her talents. I think she'll be a world champion next 2 3 years.
But Mark, let me ask you this: you don't think that right now, she shouldn't? You don't think that she should be in a title run right now? I'm not saying the world title, but AEW has so many fucking titles. I mean, hell, she should be being prepared to be the next one to go after um uh,
Hey,
Monet, in my
or
opinion. Yeah, or who? You said Amber Moon. I don't want to see her in ROH. I think she's too good. I don't want to see her trapped in ROH. And you know what? To even have that come out my mouth makes me sad because at one time ROH was just this respectable promotion that just put out talent. It's not like that no more. ROH to me is what ECW became to WWE. If you got demoted from a SmackDown or Raw to ECW when Vince McMahon, had ECW, the fake ECW, that was a demotion. Um, and that's what ROH is in AEW. I don't want to see Queen go there. I think that she should be next to go after Monet in a solid storyline, which means she needs to start going over. What are your thoughts on that?
I pretty much agree. But when you're talking about all the titles they got, and I don't know where they get these Ring of Honor stats because I don't see anything about Ring of Honor anywhere. Um, so I don't know if it's just internet matches or what, but
It
uh,
is.
is it? Oh
Yeah.
well. Um, it's just another title out there that you can go for. Well, actually, there's two titles there, isn't there? Women's
Yes.
TV title, World's Heavyweight title for ROH.
And the
So
pure champion title.
no, and that's for women.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's just for men. You're right. You're right.
So, I mean, there's two titles that aren't even hardly ever utilized.
Well, the
Or
only time. Go ahead. Good, Mark.
or seen for that matter. I couldn't even tell you who the women's ROH champion is. Is that uh Amber
I don't know.
Moon?
Maybe I don't know because look, the only time you see anything about ROH with their titles is when they bring it to AEW.
Right.
And to be honest, it's you. It has been only the men, which has been fucking Jericho. Honestly, you know.
Uh no, Brian Cage had
No,
I
I'm
think the
talking about. I'm talking about currently.
yeah,
Currently, as I'm saying.
yeah,
Um, and here's a question for you: why in the fuck is Amber Moon not on Dynamite? Like
right,
what?
right. Yeah, I don't understand it either, Same with Peraza, Deanna Peraza,
Cannon
she's
Browser?
she's such a talent.
Yeah. Now, I think it was during this match that they went backstage and showed the professor looking in. She's somebody else. Yeah, they kind of have her these tiny little pushes to make her look good, but she loses the big matches constantly. Why? She is somebody else that they should be pushing hard.
Right. And she's on the twilight of her career.
Yeah, I get that. And I also understand more, not everybody that's really good can be pushed. You have to have people that's going to lose. Um, but when it comes to some of these ladies, why not get local talent and make them look strong for a while?
Yeah. All right. So Tony got the pin, but it was still a decent match. Uh, the Queen's got a hell of a headbutt, though. Oh, man. I'd put her up against anybody for headbutts. Next, we go to Dustin with a rant. This is my only slight beef, and I'm nitpicking. Gonna beat MJ's ass on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what, dude. I actually almost text you, but he said that and said, "Am I missing something? Is Dynamite going to be on Tuesday now? For whatever reason, is there like a game that's going to be on Wednesday? I don't know if that is a fuck up or if Dynamite should be on Tuesday. I meant to check into that.
Okay, so next we go to the learning tree. And I know I mentioned this just a couple weeks ago. Putting a bounty on uh Bandito's.
Yeah,
Did I not say they needed a bounty sometime? Not too long ago?
this is so fucking dumb. Like, break these guys up. This is horrible. Now I have to report that it's been all over the internet. Enzo was at Jericho's cruise, and they put Enzo and Big Bill together on the cruise, and the people went ape shit. I am saying right now, I am predicting that within the next before March, before their pay per view in March, or I think it's March 15th, we're going to see Enzo show up, and we're going to see Big Bill turn on Jericho, and we're going to have a tag team match between Enzo and Big Bill. And I believe this is going to be the match before the pay per view. This is what I'm predicting, and it's going to be Big Bill and Enzo against Jericho and the Bounty Hunter to start off. Because if you remember correctly, a couple of weeks ago, we started seeing the little unraveling between Big Bill and Jericho's relationship a little bit. So that's just my prediction. We'll see if I'm right.
So then Hobbs comes out because they kind of called him out. They kind of beat down Hobbs for a little bit, and then the Outrunners come out to help. So you're going to see probably a 6-man tag next week
Yeah. So
or Saturday even.
yeah, this is my issue. I don't want to see Hobbs stuck with dealing with the learning tree just because how bad it is. Right now, I cannot take Big Bill seriously as far as being this this talent that's going to build Hobbs up when Hobbs beat him, just because of the way Big Bill has been booked. For a guy that size, he loses an awful lot. And this could, if they decide to let Big Bill go over, this could hurt Hobbs, in my opinion. Uh, Hobbs is someone else. Why is this man not on some type of a title run right now? Or at least dominating everyone to lead him to be in this title, some type of a title run.
Love to see catch that.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly, I would love to see either Hobbs or Buddy Matthews beat Takeshita, and then see Buddy Matthews and Hobbs go at it for the title. You don't think that'd be a good match?
I do, but I think Buddy'd be on the losing end of that one, to be honest, I think.
Why? Because of Hobbs' size? You see the way they're booking Hobbs?
Hobbs is like a fucking power lifter, dude.
Oh, absolutely. And look, I normally don't like matches with two really big guys because the match is normally boring because they can only use so much. But Hobbs can move, and Buddy Matthews can move. I think this would be one hell of a match.
Yep. No, Hobbs reminds me of Doug Furnace.
Yeah, I haven't heard that name in a minute.
I can still throw them out there. Next we go to Swerve versus Ricochet. And to be quite honest, I fell asleep before this match. So you're gonna have to lead me through this match.
Um, this match was, you know what? This is my favorite match this is the best match I've ever seen Ricochet in. This match was absolutely amazing. I love this match. It was hard hitting, fast moving. Ultimately, um, so Swerve went off the top rope to do his move. I can't remember what it's called. He stops on the shoulders or whatever. The first time, and Ricochet kicked out of that. But beforehand, Swerve kicked out of Ricochet's finisher. The match lasted a few more minutes. Swerve got Ricochet back on the ground, went to do his move again. And as Ricochet was sitting up, he threw his hands up. They're saying that it was a defensive, instead of actually cheating. Hit Swerve in the nuts. Ricochet got the win. Now, this is the part that I thought was just dumb. So Swerve came out wearing the robe that represented that faction that him and Chris Nana had formed together. I can't remember the name of it. After the match, Chris Nana ran into the ring with the robe to, help Swerve, and Ricochet attacked Chris Nana and took the robe, and he walked off with the robe. This is the thing about that. It's a fucking robe. Who cares? It's dumb. I hated that part of it. Just like I hated the whole CM Punk um feud with Drew McIntyre over a freaking bracelet. The feud was great. Don't get me wrong. It was wonderful. But the reason why was stupid. And I say it with Swerve and Ricochet for this one. The whole robe thing. It's like, come on, man. Like, there's so much more that you can do to make this feud mean something over something that means something instead of a rope.
So you're not looking forward to robe on a pole match?
No, not at all. And don't even say that because God forbid Tony Khan stumbles upon this shit. I swear to God, if I see a freaking rope on a pole match, you're fired.
That's what I'm suing Tony Khan.
But yeah, I mean, and that's how I went off the air. So, all in all, I'll give this show a B plus.
That wasn't that long of a match either, was it?
It was probably about 15 minutes.
Really? Because I think I right before the match started, I think I looked at the time left. I think it was 10 minutes. And now I'm going to go back and watch that match, and I feel bad that I didn't watch it today.
Yeah.
But life happens. So no, overall, easily a B plus. Easily B.
Yeah. And the things that I didn't like about it was just tiny little nitpicking things. I mean, overall, the show was great. I didn't feel like last week when I was watching AEW, I felt that 2 hours. I'm like, oh my God, was this going to end? Last night, the 2 hours flew by. It was smooth going. I like the fact that they only had little bits of storylines in it, even though I'm a storyline guy. It was more great matches. Um, in my opinion, Tony Khan should just limit these storylines to something very short right now, just because he sucks at the storylines. As you mentioned earlier, they have such great talent there that you could put on some hell of matches, hell of a good matches. They have the potential to do that. But yeah, leave the storylines to be very minimal right now until you figure it out. So, I mean, do you think that AEW, do you think that you can have a successful show today with very little storyline?
Your storyline is more than just what's being said. It's what's being done in the ring too.
Right.
So yeah, I think you can carry a story without saying a whole lot. I mean, one of the best promos I ever saw was Triple H and Undertaker standing in the ring saying not a goddamn word and just looking at the WrestleMania sign. That was the best promo I'd seen in years. You know,
Right,
and that was said.
right. I mean, look, when was the last time we both agreed that AEW was phenomenal? It was when they were having the
Tournament.
the tournament. Yep. And why was that? Very little storylines, or at least speakable storylines. It was all about the storylines in the ring, as you said, right?
Yep.
Well, last night, kind of the same thing. So that should tell you something. That, we know that Tony Khan just is not the guy to be putting out these big, long, massive storylines like WWE does. So I'm saying stick to your strengths right now, which is putting together damn good matches and tell the story in the ring. And I want to hear your opinion on it, but let me say one other thing. This is where I think Tony Schiavone absolutely lacks, where JR would be in really good use right now if JR still had it. JR is masterful at calling a match and telling the story that's happening in the match. Tony
Yes.
Schiavone doesn't have that type of talent.
No, I Tony's definitely not on JR's level. You know, but for me, Tony will still go down as one of the best play-by-play guys. But I
Absolutely.
I think Tony's kind of lost a lot over the last 20 years. Um, and I think they kind of play him as the idiot savant,
I see that. I
you
see that.
know.
And I agree with you. Tony Schiavone will absolutely, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He is absolutely one of the GOATs when it comes to commentary. But he just doesn't have that touch that JR does at being able to really tell that story of what's happening, in the ring and make you feel like, okay, this is a storyline.
But you know, the thing is, I think they're pushing Excalibur more so than Tony. You know, Tony's there for the history value of it and for the reminiscence of it. But as far as play by play, I don't think there's anybody better than Excalibur at this point, other than how he calls some moves that I don't care how he calls them. You know,
Yeah.
um, but he's very quick about picking up names for him. That's for sure. And Excalibur, I think, will in his own rights will be one of the best too. To be honest,
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. But
he's
yeah,
no
was that?
Jr. But
Yeah.
Excalibur actually developed very well.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think what would be the cherry on top for AW as far as being able to tell storylines in the ring and have the person call it. Um, I think that they're able to get Michael Cole to go there. It's
I'm gonna screw this whole podcast and hang up.
I knew that. Anyway, that's the recap for Dynamite. Like I said, we both agree B plus. It was a really good Dynamite last night. Um, yeah, and but hopefully next Wednesday Dynamite, which will actually be the go home Dynamite. Hopefully that'll be a good one. It should be a good one because it is their go home show. Part event, I guess it's not a pay per view event, but they're booking it. And news on that event. Um, so right now the place holds, I think it's 15,000, and they have 13,000 tickets sold. Now that's part of the 2-for-1s, but nonetheless, they have enough people in there that this should seem like something somewhat big. Um, and hopefully that crowd is going to have the energy, which they should. It's Australia. I'm hoping that next Saturday is going to be a really big event for AW. and it's going to go down, as well as their pay-per-views, honestly, go down. So, time will tell.
They need to try India and they need to try Germany.
Yeah, they always seem to do better out of the country than what they do here in the United States.
Yeah.
So, but
So
anyway, yep, that's the recap for Wednesday night. Don't forget Monday we're going to have Triple M here. It'll be a fun conversation. Please, please subscribe to our podcast. Mark, you have anything?
no, I'm just gonna plug in my battery for my snowblower. Thanks.
All right, everyone. And what you got to say?
Ring the damn bell.
Ring the damn bell. We will see you guys on Saturday for the SmackDown recap with the one and only, the Royal Hawaiian. She's gonna be back with us to do a recap of SmackDown. I'm looking forward to that. Again, subscribe to our YouTube. We'll see you guys on Saturday.